My name is Jacqueline Gerwells.
And you have some stories about your son, your beautiful boy.
My son's name is Banks, and this is never in a position that I wanted to be in to discuss. I never thought I would be in this place, but I have 5 children. My son Banks is the 3rd. My first 2 children were vaccinated normally on the traditional schedule. Banks, the 3rd one that was born, every time we took him to the doctor, we held our breath. First of all, when I was pregnant with him, I had a friend whose son died of a vaccine injury, so I went to the funeral, and I knew not to give this child vaccines, but I thought I was being a good mother by delaying the vaccines, so we delayed them. And every time we went to give this child vaccines, we held our breath and thought we were doing the right thing. The pediatrician finally told us that we should go to the health department to get fresher vaccines, which was, now we know, is a joke. So
what did they mean by fresher? What does that mean?
They said that I was so worried about thimerosal, and I was so worried about shots that had thimerosal in them, and they told me that the health department would have fresher vaccines, that we wouldn't have to worry about that. So I took them to the local health department in Tennessee, and the nurse there was a friend of mine that I went to high school, a friend of mine's mother who I went to high school with, and she told me, your child is obviously over 3 years old. He's not autistic. You're crazy to worry about vaccines. You need to do this. You're not being a good parent because you're not vaccinating your child. You're hurting them. So we did it. And he got the MMR, the DTaP, and the HEP all on the same day. The next day, he couldn't walk, he couldn't talk. This child who was so verbal and potty trained so early and just an absolute rock star was gone. Freaking gone the next day. Gone. We rushed him to the emergency room. What's wrong with him? What's wrong with him? Oh, he's epileptic. You just didn't realize it. And no, he wasn't. Everywhere we went, and I knew it was the vaccines. The doctors that we went to, they kept telling us over and over that we just didn't realize it was there, that you just didn't pay enough attention to him. When I was pregnant with this child, I had yeast infections, I had strep throat, I had all kinds of stuff. I was on major antibiotics when I was pregnant with him. And then I would go on to yeast infection medicine. And then he was induced. And then I had 10 ultrasounds with this child. It was a perfect storm. Then when he was born, he had ear infections, and he was on antibiotics, and he was on antivirals for yeast infections and all this stuff, and he had yeast around his neck, and then he had eczema, and they kept giving him vaccines, and they kept giving him vaccines, and nobody ever said to me, don't, gluten-free diet, or don't vaccinate him. These were all red flags. Then he got scarlet fever, which is very, very, he had strep throat so many times that it turned into scarlet fever. And this is all the perfect storm that happened, and then he was injected with the vaccine. And that's when he was gone.
For everybody who thinks, and possibly for those people that have watched Vax, that think, oh, well, I'll be safe if I vaccinate 3 years and over, you're not. And we're hearing this so much, really way more than we want to hear it, that it doesn't seem to matter what age your child is. If they can't cope with the onslaught, they can't cope, which is clearly what happened to Banks.
No, I tried that. I thought that that was what I was supposed to do. I thought that I was supposed to, I listened to Dr. Sears, and I laid it out, and I did a delayed thing. And I was just delaying the inevitable. I was just delaying what was going to happen. And now, fast forward to what we have now, we have a child that we spend more money than we can afford on treatments and chelation, and we got a mess. We have a child that's never going to survive on his own, and we don't know what we're going to do about his future. I mean, so you give birth to children, you expect that you're going to raise them, and then they're going to be 18 years old, and then they're going to go off on their own, and now we have a child that's never going to leave us. And it's all because I thought I was doing the great thing of delaying. Let me back up to the health department and where I thought I got the fresher vaccines. I researched the vaccines, and they had thimerosal in them because the health department that we went to bought discounted vaccines. So it's not illegal to buy vaccines that were manufactured before they did the thimerosal. It's illegal to manufacture them anymore. So he got a dirty vaccine. They showed the
Right, and maybe
manufacturer
because it
date.
wasn't just the MMR anyway. He had DTaP
He had
and
a fatal combination that day.
Right.
Nobody should ever have an MMR and a DTaP and a hip on the same day. Ever. Ever.
So how old is he now?
He's 8.
Was this injury ever reported to the VERS program?
No, because I was told I could try to contact lawyers. By the time I wrapped my head around it, the time had ran out. And I could never find a lawyer to help me. I could never find a doctor to acknowledge that he did it. I mean, that's what happened to him. And I gave up. I was too concentrated on saving my son. I just couldn't. Everybody kept telling me it's an uphill battle. Don't even mess with it.
So he's 8 years old now,
Mm-hmm.
and he's doing. What are the consequences of what's happened to him? What are we dealing with now because of these vaccines?
He's an 8-year-old boy who goes to school with an assistant all day long because we're very fortunate enough to be able to pay for that. We pay for him to have an ABA with him every day that stays with him 24 hours a day. He goes to a small private school because the county that we're in wants him in a self-contained classroom that has very severe autistic kids, and he was running away from school, and he was going half a mile away from school, and we're having to put tracking devices in his pocket to find him, and he was hiding behind buildings. So we pulled him out and put him in a small private school, and we pay for a shadow to go to school with him every day, and we also pay for a teacher with a master's degree to modify the program for him so he can learn. But it's a freaking mess. It's just a mess. We've got a Band-Aid on it right now, and it's not working, and it's not helping.
Billy, literally 2 minutes, I promise. It's fine. Just 2 minutes. You know, he just says no more, and you know what? He's right. We don't want to hear any more.
I understand that. He hears
we
a
want to
lot.
hear you. We want to hear everybody, but
No,
it's,
I get
he's
it.
right.
I don't want to hear it anymore either. I don't want to be sitting here doing
What
this.
he's saying is that he's been with us, 2 days, and all he's heard is the same
I
thing
know,
over
and I
over
feel the
again.
same way. That's how I feel with my life. I don't want to hear it anymore
Your
either.
story is so important, and we want to make sure you and I stay in close contact. We've already made that bond already, because you're exhausted, utterly exhausted, and it's just a long journey. But you're also a really amazing person, and we need you. We need you in this fight. So don't give up, please. We need you. We'll support you.
That's the problem, is you feel like giving up every day because I don't feel like it's getting any better. And it just, no matter how many therapies and how much I try, it never gets better. And I feel so responsible because I knew every single time I took him in to get a shot that it wasn't working. And I knew especially the very last time I took him in that was the one that did it. And I'm the one that was alone and did it that day. And I will never ever forgive myself for that.
And you're not alone in thinking that, and you're not alone in your exhaustion, and everything you're going through. All of us go through this, but please know that that we need you in our fight. Okay, you're here to stay. We got your back.
But once again, this is not. I thought I would just be an advocate for something else. I never thought I'd be thrusted into this one, but I'm here, and I guess this is where I need to be. But it's a very painful place to be. It's an extremely painful place to be when you have children that you just can't fix. And I feel very responsible that I did it and I can't fix it. I feel like I did it and I can't reverse it. I drove him there that day. I did it. I signed the stupid paper and did it, and I can't take it back. And I will never forgive myself for that. And I go to therapy every Tuesday and it's still not working.
Yeah, it's painful. It's painful. I'm not going to say to you to take that guilt away, because we all know
The
deep
guilt
down
keeps
that-
me fighting, though.
Right.
So it's a very
Right. And we all know it's not your fault any more than it was my fault or anybody's fault. We just did what we thought was right for our kids at the time. So, now, Kim, I know, is a friend of yours. Now, she is a rocking mama.
right.
So she's going to hold your hand right here, but we're going to hold your hand around the country.
I feel that.
And
Thank you.
you're going to go to Autism 1
I am.
next year.
You gonna go with me?
You think I probably will. Yeah, I think I probably will. And there's loads of other places that you need to go to, and Austin being one of them. Come see us.
I'm excited about that.
And yeah, you're getting a load of love and hearts and hugs, and you should sign on to this Periscope thing.
I need to figure that out.
Then you will know that you're not alone, because this is one big family.
I need to figure that out.
We're all here just protecting each other. And if you want to see this, look, check it out. Those hearts.
See, I don't understand that. That's so cool.
See all those hearts going
Yeah,
up?
I don't understand that.
They're
Yeah,
tapping.
that's
They're saying they're sorry and they love you. They're
That is so
tapping.
cool.
They're tapping the screen with hearts for you, because they're trying to show you love, and that's how we
Yeah,
show
I
each
gotta
other
figure
love.
this out. That's so
So
sweet.
once you see, look, you love you. They're all saying love you. We love you. God bless. This is your new family, okay? Right? Got it? And these people have been through the same pain you've been through. Okay, so I'm going to get Anu to set you up on this Periscope.
I don't like ugly crying. It's not pretty.
You're going to join. No, everybody cries. It's fine. And you're going to join us, okay? All right.